Alright dudes, the time has finally come. A huge update for Phantom Forces has dropped, and it's the huge content update that we've been waiting ages for. We've actually got a pretty huge update today, so stick around because we're going to cover all of the major changes done, things like new models, new conversions, and even a huge nerf to the AK-107. And we're going to be talking about all of that and more in today's video, so without further ado, let's get into the new content that we've got in this update. The first thing you're going to notice whenever you join a lobby is the lighting. They changed the lighting to like the future is bright kind of new Roblox lighting, and it works pretty well. Some maps it's a little bit worse than others, kind of depends on the time of day too that's going on in the map. So that's going to be the first overall thing, though the second thing you're probably going to notice is going to be in particular the AK-12, because while I talked about this the other day, we finally did receive the full release of the new AK-12 remodel. But it's not just a remodel, because yes, we actually get some new stats too, including an increase in the minimum damage from 20 to 21 and an increase in damage range from 130 studs to 160, letting you effectively do more damage at longer ranges. We've also got the new layered recoil system, making it look nice and buttery, and also a new reload animation for it apparently. The bar's barrel as well also has some nice changes to it. Essentially, what all of this yapping means on screen is that your damage will no longer be lowered, and muzzle velocity is no longer increased with having it equipped. However, the AK-12 overall would be more epic if it had a 1.1 torso multiplier, maybe one day. The AKM actually got a very nice rework as well, obviously with reworked recoil making it look amazing and jumpy and kind of uncontrollable, but hey, it's still very nice to use. It's got an increase to up close damage from 39 to 42, and an increase in range damage as well from 28 to 29, as well as a higher damage range and increased penetration. Basically, it got straight damage buffs across the board. Though that's not just for the base weapon, because some of the conversions for it, namely things like the 366 TKM conversion, aka the shotgun conversion, also got changes to it, but with a very decent little trade-off here. First, the fire rate was upped from 200 to 500, almost double the reserve ammo that we get as well, and best of all, it now has a 30 round magazine compared to the old 10. So you get 30 rounds of low damage shotgun ammo, and actually, it's kind of insanely fun to use on some maps like Metro and Bazaar. The slug shotgun conversion as well basically got the same exact treatment, but instead of lower damage all around, it got increased range damage and lowered close-up damage. Otherwise, very similar changes, and again, a 30 round magazine. Actually, straight W's across the board for the AKM. The AK-103 got some changes. I'm not sure that it really needed them, but sure. First, it got a pretty big bump in overall damage from 37 to 38, and the range damage got an increase from 25 to 27, as well as increased penetration from 1.4 to 1.5, however, decreased damage range from 170 studs maximum to 150. Recoil also got a rework, and it looks pretty nice, I guess, if a bit chaotic. Bar's barrel also got reworked recoil, and now decreased range damage to 23. The AK-12BR is probably going to be one of the more controversial changes here, and it's probably going to make a lot of people mad, obviously, considering now we don't get the funny haha zero recoil Halbeck device builds anymore. And now the recoil looks a little bit more like, yeah, not too great. However, it's not all bad though, because we get increased range damage from 25 up to 30, increased damage range from 140 studs to 170, increased head multi from 1.4 to 1.5, and we now have a torso multi of 1.1, increased suppression as well, but things like lower walk speed, slower aim walk speed, equip speed, unequipped speed, slower aim speed, and burst mode no longer fires at 1000 RPM. The conversions also got changed, shall we say. In particular, the 762 conversion has more overall damage as well, but decreased range damage ranges, if that makes sense. No more Tulsi. No more torso multi, and then also lowered pen walk speed and aim walk speed. 12.7 also got a rework with increased range damage from 22 to 25, giving you 4-shot anywhere on the body max range, though a tiny bit lower headshot multi and even lower muzzle velocity at just over 1000. The HK417 got one of, if not the best and maybe most important weapon rework of this entire update, which is absolutely incredible. On the surface, we've gotten a new firing sound and new recoil, but it gets a lot more in depth than just that. We've got an increase to range damage from 32 to 33, increased headshot multi from 1.4 to 1.5, increased aim walk speed, aim speed, unaim speed, magnify speed, equip speed, and when firing on semi-auto mode, you get a straight straight up decrease in recoil by 20%, at the cost though of a lower fire rate at 450. But it's not a bad thing though, because it is a straight up DMR like this. Combining it with hollow point, you get 2-tap headshot maximum range, which is nuts. And of course, the base ammo type lets you get 3-tap torso maximum range, which is super nice. Overall, this change is huge, and I think this weapon has been kind of in much need of a major overhaul for a very long time now. The AK-105 got a lot of much needed changes too, including, yes, a big nerf for the bars barrel or the 107 conversion. The base AK-105 though got increases to its range damage from 20 to 22, an increase in its closer up damage range from 50 studs out to 70, basically higher maximum damage range, but slightly lower minimum damage range from 130 studs to 120, also a lower headshot multi from 1.6 to 1.5. Though we do have a new attachment though, that being the AK-74M barrel, which is actually kind of overpowered in my opinion. The attachment, formerly known as Squad Barrel, now gives you a huge buff to its range damage, going from 22 to 25.08, giving you 4-tap anywhere on the body at maximum range, and it extends its damage range by 25%. However, it lowers your close-up damage from 34 to 32.47, so many oddly specific numbers with this one. Though fire rate also goes from 600 to 650, it's genuinely so much fun to use. In my opinion, more fun than the now nerfed bars barrel. Speaking of which, the bars barrel got pretty big nerfs, lowering the damage overall, with generally slower handling, slower reload times, but surprisingly an increase to farther damage range by 25%. Recoil is definitely worse, but I don't think it's nearly enough to rip it out of the currently overused state that it's in. The M60, now named the M60E6, is very epic now, as if it kind of already wasn't earlier, but it was, I don't know. Sporting now new recoil, new reload animations, and best of all, no more ramp down fire mode. Let's go! We've got faster reload times too, faster walk speed, better suppression. Sadly though, slightly lower range damage, which is still a 4-tap on anywhere on the body, I guess, but sadly we can no longer 3-tap torso max range. They lowered the torso multi as well, and slightly decreased pen. Though we've got some new attachments though in the free attachment. I just hit my hand so hard on my desk. I want to scream, but I'm recording. I want to keep that on the inside. We got some new attachments in the form of the free attachment of the notch sight, which is a slight variation of the default irons. It's okay, sure, why not? And interestingly enough, a squad barrel, which increases damage ranges and apparently shares stats with the other squad barrels in the game. Another new attachment is going to be the assault box. It requires 500 kills to unlock, and all of the yapping on screen is basically just to say that they halved the magazine capacity, and it has worse recoil, but for overall slightly faster handling. I don't really see the use case in this, but hey, it's there if you want it. A little bit more interesting to me though is going to have to be the epic, funny, haha, depleted uranium ammo. This, while it gives you ridiculously small ammo box thing with just 30 rounds, it also has a bunch of yapping, basically translating to increased muzzle velocity, penetration, suppression, and lower box ammo capacity thing, and slower fire rate, but also it has increased damage basically the farther out you are, turning it more into a slower DMR than an LMG really, but it's a lot of fun and actually kind of worth using in my opinion, if you're willing to grind out the almost 2,000 kills it requires to get. However, requiring even more kills is the 5.56 conversion. This again has so much yapping on screen, but it translates roughly to lower recoil, more ammo per box at 125 over the base 100 rounds, faster overall handling, but with slightly lower overall damage capability. This is probably going to be the best general use LMG conversion for this weapon in my opinion, but it won't be for everybody. However, I think it's great. The RPK-74 got straight buffs down the line, getting increased damage from 35 to 36, and at range 21 to 23 minimum damage. Damage ranges were also increased quite a bit, as well as overall handling. All of this though at the cost of 0.1 decrease in suppression. Okay, sure, pretty cool though, very nice. The MP10 for the second time now has gotten a pretty big rework, getting increased range damage, increased damage range, and faster aim speed at the cost of slower equip speed. And the best thing though is they basically removed the whole insanely high vertical climbing thing that it had last time it was updated, and it's back to being just super fun. A lot of the grenades got straight nerfs down the line. If you'd like to read those, I'll leave them up on screen for you right now, so feel free to pause, though I see this again as another straight W, because lately grenades have been such an issue too, and I'm just happy to see him nerfed, honestly, at this point. One of my favorite things, though, in test plays that I have been waiting for ages to get added is the 22 conversion on the L86 family of weapons, in particular for me, the L22. This conversion basically does the same thing on each of the weapons. It gives you insanely low damage in favor of an insane headshot multiplier, giving you 2-tap headshot at maximum range and absolutely zero recoil. Insanely OP. I expect this to be meta at some point when people finally realize just how insane it can be. I mean, just look at it, dude. Though I will be sad if it eventually gets nerfed, because honestly, it's just fun. So we'll see what happens. At the moment, though, enjoy it for what it is. Moving away from weapons, we also get 2 new cases, which are pretty decent. They have some interesting skins in them, but otherwise it's not super interesting. And there's also some changes to the cannon and melees and stuff, but that's not as important to me. Well, anyways, that is going to be the bulk of the update. There are a few other minor changes in here, things that I didn't feel were important enough to have their own section, but otherwise that's basically going to be it for this update. There's been a lot of needed and really fun changes here, and I think overall it is very awesome and epic and silly and funny. Yeah, I don't quite know what else to say about that, but anyways, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on the updates in the comment section below. What's your favorite change? What's your least favorite change? Tell me all of that in the comments below. And of course, shout out to all of the channel members up on screen. You guys are fantastic. Of course, thanks to the top 2 channel members too: Skux, Katzen, Jared Smith, Matthew, Yee Gaming, Plum, Solitude, Horse's Mouth, Kitsune, King GS, Mr. Spooky, Taxman, Trooper MLG, and Lazy Goth. You guys are incredible. And if you'd like to see more videos like this or keep up with updates, definitely get subscribed. We're closing in on 200K, and I'd love to hit that by the end of the year if at all possible. And naturally, check out the Phantom Forces playlist up on screen if you want to see more videos just like this. Thank you guys for watching. I love you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Love you. Peace.